Hello everyone and good morning. Welcome to Friday's English lesson. Today the date is Friday the 22nd of January 2021 and it's actually my little sister's birthday tomorrow, which is exciting. So this week we have been learning about Jack and the Beanstalk. And I really hope you had fun yesterday with your outside activities. I'm sure lots of you have sent me pictures and things on Dojo, which is really great, but I hope you had a fun time being outside yesterday. Today we're going to write character descriptions for a character from the story Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, we've already had a go at writing some character descriptions in our writing lessons at school. And we've written a character description from The Smartest Giant in Town, when we wrote one for the giraffe. And we also wrote character descriptions when we were reading the story The Great Paper Caper. And you described some of the characters from that story. And it might have been the bear, it might have been the moose, or the goose, or the pig. Or the owl, but you have had a go at writing character descriptions before. Now we know that when we are describing characters, we use a special type of word. Now it begins with an A sound and the next letter is a D. Ad. Can you remember what it is? Adjective. Super. So they are our special words that describe something. Now you can describe anything. If you look around your room, I'm sure you can put your finger on an object nearby or put your beady eyes on an object nearby and you could tell me what colour it was. Okay, so for example, my jumper is grey. Now grey is my adjective. And I'm sure you could have a look around the room and spot something else and tell me what shape it is. So I can spot my window from where I'm sitting, and that is a square shape. Now the word square is my adjective. Okay, so they are words that describe something you can see or touch. Okay, an object. Now we are going to have a go at describing the characters from Jack and the Beanstalk. Okay, now I want you to think really quickly about the cow. Let me see if I can find you a picture. I want you to have a quick think about the cow in the story Jack and the Beanstalk, and you can have a look at it here. Now, what colour is the cow? Tell me what colours you see on the cow. Super job, they are all adjectives. We can see black, that's an adjective. We can see white, that's an adjective. We can see pink, that's an adjective. How else might you describe the cow? What about the cow's tail? What can you tell me about the cow's tail? You might say it's fluffy or spiky, or you might imagine that it feels rough or soft or scraggly. Okay, what about the size of the cow? Is it big? Is it teeny weeny? All of those words that you are saying now to describe the cow are adjectives. You have told me more information about the cow, so that if I sat there with my eyes closed, I could imagine what the cow looks like or feels like or smells like. Super duper guys, well done. Now, what you are going to have a think about today with me is we are going to have a think about the giant together. Okay, the giant in the story. Now, can you remember what the giant looks like. Let's see if we can find a nice clear picture of the giant. Okay, here he is here, opening his bag of gold. Okay, have a good look at the giant and tell me what you can see about him. You might say he has a nose. Now, a nose is something that he has. But can you tell me a bit more information about the nose? What does it look like? Is it smooth? Is it bumpy? Is it big? Is it small? Okay, what about his hair? We could say the giant has hair. But is hair an adjective? Or could we think of an adjective, a word to describe his hair? Super. So we could say that he has brown hair. We could say that he doesn't have very much hair. Super duper. Now I have come up with some adjectives for the giant and I have written them on my whiteboard. So I have said terrifying. Okay, that's how I'm going to describe the giant. I'm describing him as terrifying. Another adjective I've got on my whiteboard is the word ginormous, because I think the giant is ginormous. I've also written on here booming voice. Now, which one of these words is the adjective? Is it booming or is it voice? So remember, he has a voice, but saying that it's booming is describing the type of voice that he has. So booming is my adjective. I wonder if you could help me with this one then, spotting the adjective. We've got huge nose. What does he have and how am I describing it? Good job. So he has a nose and I'm describing it as huge. Okay, so huge nose. And then I've also got rotten teeth. So I'm describing his teeth as rotten. Okay, so I have come up with 5 words or 5 phrases to describe different parts of the giant. And this is going to help me write my character description. Okay, I've already thought about my ideas. Okay, a bit like what we've already done in school. We put our ideas down first. And then when we come to write it, we can look at our ideas and we've already done the tricky part of thinking about what we're going to write. And then we can begin to put them into sentences. So your first task now, because I'm looking at the giant, I would like you guys to have a go at describing Jack from the story. Okay, now I'll give you a clue. We already know that Jack is lazy, so if I read this part to you, Jack was no help to his mother because he was lazy and only wanted to lie in front of the fire all day. Okay, and we've got a little picture of him there, a little illustration of him being lazy there. And then we've also got a picture of him here. Okay, so what I want you to have a think about is how could you describe Jack from the story? We have a look at this part of the story where he is climbing the beanstalk and he has got to the top. How might we describe him? Is he scared? Is he brave? Is he strong? Is he a big boy, a little boy? What colour hair does he have? Okay, and your first mini task, guys, is to pause the video here and I want you to write down 5 adjectives to describe Jack. So like I've done 5 adjectives to describe the giant, I want you guys to write 5 adjectives to describe Jack. So pause the video here, write down your 5 adjectives and then come back to watch the rest of the video and find out your next task. Okay, super. Well done for writing your adjectives down, guys. They are going to really help you when it comes to writing your character description. Okay, Now remember, when you are writing at this stage in year 1, it is absolutely okay to use the sounds that you know to sound out words. Okay, there are some tricky words and some different sounding words that you know how to spell the right way. Okay, those consonant vowel consonant words like cat and dog, we can clearly hear the sounds in those and we can write them. But if for now you would just like to use your phonics that you know and practice your phonics to write words when you're doing your writing, that is absolutely the right thing to do. So don't worry about spelling everything completely correctly. As long as you are using your phonics, that is super. Okay, so you've got your 5 adjectives. I've got my 5 adjectives. And now we're going to turn it into a character description. Now, just because you have 5 adjectives doesn't mean you'll have 5 sentences. Okay, so how would we go about putting this in a sentence? We can't just put he has a huge nose to start off with, because if somebody who didn't know who you were talking about came along to read your character description, they're going to be thinking, who has a huge nose? This doesn't make any sense. So we need to start with the giant. Okay, so that's going to become the start of our sentence. So the giant. Okay, so the giant. Now we can choose any of our adjectives that we would like to start with. Okay, we don't have to start with terrifying, we can choose. So I'm going to include huge nose. So the giant, how can we put huge nose? The giant huge nose? That makes sense? Not really. The giant is huge nose. That little connective word doesn't really make sense, does it? What about the giant has a huge nose? Okay, see how that makes more sense? The giant has a huge nose. The giant has a huge nose. Now I could leave my sentence here and I could put a full stop, but I'm going to add a conjunction. I am going to use the conjunction, and if I write it on here you can have a go at reading it. This word here. And, that's right. The giant has a huge nose and rotten teeth. And rotten teeth. Then I need to finish my sentence with a full stop. So the giant has a huge nose and rotten teeth. Good job, guys. So I've already used 2 of my adjective phrases and a conjunction and put them into one sentence, and that is absolutely fine to do that. Now, do I need to keep doing this? The giant has a huge nose. The giant has rotten teeth. The giant is terrifying. The giant is ginormous. The giant has a booming voice. Do I need to say the giant that many times? I don't think so. If we're going to write the giant for our first sentence, anybody who reads the rest of our sentences will know who we're talking about if we use the word he. Okay, so we could write the giant has a huge nose and rotten teeth. And then your next sentence could be, he is terrifying and ginormous. Okay? So when you write your character descriptions for Jack, I would like you to have a go at using this word and this conjunction to join two of your adjectives together. And I would also like you to use the word he as a sentence starter. Okay? Now your sentences are not going to start with the giant. They are going to start with Jack. Okay? And you can still use the word he as your other sentence starter because he is a boy and we use the word he. Okay? So your job for the rest of today's English lesson is to write your character description for Jack using the adjectives or the adjective phrases that you have already written down. Okay? Have a go at using the conjunction and have a go at using he as a sentence starter. And I look forward to reading your brilliant character descriptions with your adjectives to describe Jack. Have a fantastic day, enjoy doing your writing, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.